Welcome to Capital Currents, where the flow of business news and market trends keeps you ahead of the tide. I'm your watchdog, and today is Friday, August 8th. In today's episode, we'll tell you about Tim Cook's visit to the White House and how he got a big tariff exemption for Apple. I'll also recap earnings from Eli Lilly, DoorDash, and Airbnb. The stock market bounced back yesterday, with the S&P jumping almost 1% and the Nasdaq up 1.2%. Don't look now, but we're getting pretty close to record highs again. The market has been taking 2 steps forward, then 1 step back. And I guess that tracks, because historically, August tends to be a pretty volatile month. Last year, it was that yen carry trade that sent the markets into a tailspin. You guys remember that? And this year, it's been the tariff news. Let's run through some headlines, starting with Apple. Yesterday, CEO Tim Cook showed up to the White House and walked away with a tariff exemption. President Trump has threatened to impose 100% tariffs on imported semiconductors with one big carve-out. Companies that invest in US manufacturing, like Apple, get an exemption. So Tim Cook was at the Oval Office standing next to President Trump, and he announced that Apple is increasing their US investment commitment by another $100 billion, bringing their total commitment to $600 billion over the next 4 years. And this new spending includes a $2.5 billion investment in Corning, the company that makes the glass for iPhones and Apple Watches. In fact, for the first time ever, all iPhone and Apple Watch glass will be made in the US at Corning's factory in Kentucky. Tim Cook laid out plans to work with Samsung, Broadcom, and Texas Instruments to boost chip production in the US. But the thing is, Apple didn't commit to any mass manufacturing of any of their products here. They're not going to be making iPhones or MacBooks in the US, but Tim Cook is trying to signal to President Trump that they're doing something. A longtime reporter said that this was all spun well enough for Apple to be on Trump's good side and get that crucial tariff exemption. It worked. Tim Cook seems to be the master of playing this game. In fact, he even brought a gift to the White House. It was a 24 gold-plated glass plaque. So yeah, there you go. That's what it takes these days to get a tariff exemption. But investors seem to be happy about it, and Apple stock jumped more than 5% yesterday, and it's up another 3% this morning. Don't be surprised if you have a bunch of companies lining up now to give gifts to the president to get a tariff exemption. Let's shift gears and talk about Eli Lilly. The pharma giant reported earnings this morning, and they raised their outlook for the year and announced earnings that topped Wall Street expectations. Mounjaro pulled in $5.2 billion in revenue for the quarter, which is up 68% from last year. And Zepbound brought in $3.4 billion, which is up 170% year over year. But despite these blowout numbers, their stock is still down this morning, and it has to do with Eli Lilly's weight loss pill. Eli Lilly released new data from their late-stage trials of their upcoming obesity pill, and it was kind of a disappointment. According to their latest data, this pill helped patients lose around 11% of their body weight after 72 weeks, which isn't bad, but the market was expecting more. For comparison, Novo Nordisk's Wegovy drug, which is an injection, helps users lose up to 14 to 15% body weight. So I think investors were hoping for something closer to that number. But on top of the underwhelming body weight loss from the pill, the dropout rate by study participants was also higher than what investors wanted to see. About 10% of patients dropped out due to side effects. So as a result, Eli Lilly's stock is down over 7%. Meanwhile, Novo Nordisk's stock is up 7% on the news. That's all the business headlines I have for you. Let's take a look at some stocks making moves. Shares of DoorDash are popping this morning after the company reported solid earnings beat. Total orders on their platform jumped 20%, and order value also saw a 20% boost. So it seems like people continue to order food instead of cooking at home. And all of that is finally leading to profits for the company. DoorDash saw their profits jump nearly $300 million in Q2. Compare that to Q2 of last year, where the company lost $150 million. So investors are pretty excited about DoorDash's growth, and shares of the company are up nearly 12% and counting. On the flip side, Airbnb shares are dropping this morning, even though the company beat earnings estimates and announced a massive $6 billion share buyback program. Revenues for Airbnb was up 13%, and management said they had a strong quarter despite uncertainty from Trump's tariffs weighing down on customers. But investors seem to be worried about the slowdown in growth. The total nights booked only grew by 7% in Q2, which is basically where it's been for the past year. Airbnb has been trying to juice things up with a new in-app design, new services like private chefs and massage therapists, but that hasn't caught on, and as a result, Airbnb stock is down 6% this morning. That's all for today's show. Keep navigating those waters and see you tomorrow.